If you are ever worried that you're going wrong in life, note that in most cases, if not all cases, this is nothing else than a strategy that is aimed to lure you away from what you would want to do. Never forget that in most cases, your parents are the first ones who will start sabotaging you with quotes that you're not good enough. Then this goes even deeper into you when you go to school and you hear the same things. For thousands and thousands of people, generations after generations, they have lived in ignorance. And when people live in ignorance, they can't allow someone else to become better, because ignorance equals misery, and misery loves company. If someone is suffering, never forget that in suffering, you also want the others to suffer. Be it in this life or any other life, we have been guilty about this. And considering how many previous lives we have lived, there is one simple point. There is so much bullshit that we have accumulated through our lives. And so much of these we have heard that we are never good enough and we don't need to struggle because whatever there is, it's definitely not for us. That even if we live a life in which none of these come to us, they still exist in our karmic field. Sooner or later they will start manifesting. They will start popping up. So the point is, never worry about going wrong in life. You see, life is just a maze. A maze that is said to require around, well, yogic sciences say 8,400,000 lifetimes to experience, from the minutest forms of life to that of a human being. To experience and see all the nudges and all the cracks and nooks of life and what physicality really is about in this universe, most likely here on this planet. So the point is, with so many nooks and corners to simply check in life, the point is there is so much to check. Imagine life as an RPG where you simply level up, and the point is you just keep leveling up. You may forget at times which your main quests were, because you're probably getting too drowned on side quests, but all of these serve as nothing else but other bits and other bits of experience, which simply keep adding, and they keep adding up. The point is, all the ways leads to the truth, because in this maze, the purpose is the truth, which is always in the middle. And the point is, once you reach the truth, well, you can only reach the truth when you have given up on everything that you think you are. All the attachments, all the past things that happened and you can't have any control over them, other than the control you have over how you react towards those. So the point is, all the paths leads to the truth. The truth that ultimately calmness and peace are the only things that exist. Everything else is just struggle. It is just ignorance. Because it only happens when you simply ignore at least a bit of yourself. And when humanity as a whole does that, well, we end up in a society like this, where so many people get so attached to the illusions of who they are, or, well, they think they are, better said. And they end up believing that, they have to control everything and, the whole planet is theirs for the taking. So if all journeys, if all paths lead to the truth, there is no such thing as a wrong path. You will eventually reach the truth, sooner or later, in more lifetimes or less lifetimes than others may have been luckier to simply have become enlightened and wise much faster. But the point is, we will go through enough that is needed, because all the pain and hurt that there is, it's only there to remind you that, well, ignorance is not good. Pain reminds you that you're alive, because its only purpose is to guide you out of there. Because once things no longer hurt, well, you're most likely on the right path. Obviously, if you ignore your pains, well, it still feels as if it doesn't hurt. So life is just a journey of wacky moments and, well, all sorts of happenings. Do not get attached to those. Or get attached to those. There is no such thing as right or wrong in the end. There are people in here who, just choose to cause an onslaught behind them, emotionally, physically, mentally, And it seems as if these people don't get what they want, what they need, right? It feels as if there's technically no justice. But nothing can bypass the karma one creates. If someone has had, for example, 5,000 lives of torment, probably they can allow themselves to have, a life as a murderer. Sooner or later, we all will experience that part. Because one has to experience through all possible truths needed, so that they become one with creation. And, well, to become that, one needs to give up everything that they think they are. The illusions of being a certain title, of owning something on this planet. No one owns anything. All of them are left behind once this physical body is left. So the point is, if you think it's right to own a car, or it's wrong to own a car when other people simply starve, well, you are born in your situation, make use of it. Because if you spend time thinking of the others who are richer or poorer than you, it's always that comparison is a thief of joy. Every time you think of someone who's different than you, you're disempowering yourself. And that causes pain, right? When you think of people who are poorer than you, well, when it comes to the circumstances of life, think about random number generator games. You don't do anything in that game, mostly. You just make use of the resources that you have. Like, for example, card games. You never know what card you will draw. It's just a matter of luck. The fact that you're more miserable in a game that you simply feel to draw the bad deals all the time, and some people always seem to be lucky, well, that's from your perspective. Because many people in a row in your life may seem that they have had the game of their life, but you don't know how much they have suffered as well, right? So when it comes to this, life more or less is a game of chance. Your karma will basically determine what kind of parents you will have. But the point is, that is chosen unconsciously before you are born. So the point is, you may not consciously choose who your parents are, but you may be weak enough to realize, well, to not realize that you can actually determine the path of your life. You may have had a rough start, but there is no such thing as a successful person without a rough start, because that's what shakes you up. So once you are roughed up enough, you can simply start going against the hurts that you've had and realize that keeping them and thinking about them is not the way. Just letting them go into the past is what is needed, because the more you focus on them, the stronger you make them, right? You add more and more layers of pain that sooner or later you'll have to go through in order to simply rid yourself of who you think you've become. Many people think they have become failures, but that is nothing else than a title. A president, a senator, a failure, whatever you want, those are nothing else than titles. Titles are just meaning, and meaning exists only as long as you accept it. That is why there are people in this world who simply can't be disturbed by swears and whatever people may throw at them, because they have realized that meaning is just meaning. It only exists as long as you accept it. So there is no such thing as right or wrong, since all the ways lead to the truth eventually. The point is, everyone wakes up at their own pace. That is why you can't simply shake others up. You have to realize some truths about physicality. In this world, you have been born with a certain set of assets. You are either poor or rich. Well, start from there. Don't bother looking at others around. That doesn't mean you lack empathy. But if you constantly focus on the poor and the rich, you won't do anything in your life, because you're constantly distracted. If you want to help the poor, well, focus on your life and make everything possible to start a business, to make money, so that you can actually start helping the poor. And you'll only help the poor by teaching them how to make money, not by giving them free money. Because poor people are poor because mindset. You can give them $1 billion, they will simply blow it all on all the possible distractions, and they will still become poor. It doesn't matter how much money you give them. The mindset needs to be changed. When it comes to rich people, well, having a lot of money doesn't mean being rich. Being abundant means having it all. Having the love that you seek, the people that support you, right? Money is just a byproduct of doing what you like in a fashion that serves people. and really serves them. Or, well, it can be to their detriment as well. So many people do that. They do toxic game environments, they do, social media and the such, right? They earn a lot of money because of that. But not because they are servicing people, but because they are using personal information and they're selling them highly on the markets and getting a lot of money out of that, right? So whatever path you seek, the point is always seek to make the best out of that which you have in your life. Because focusing on others, well, if you look at successful people, they don't focus too much on others. They're usually too focused on their things and they have little time, for distractions. Usually they spend very little time with, their close ones when they can. Because, well, at least they can provide them with whatever possible, right? And, well, that's one thing. When you become successful, you'll be having so many meetings, you'll be going in so many places that you simply won't have that much time to spend on all the distractions that once kept you down. There is a quote that says, distractions are the only luxury that poor people can afford. The point is, still, if people were born richer than you, and other people were born poorer than you, that is their life circumstance. It is not yours. If you choose to become rich or you choose to become poor, well, that is your business. Or your problem. Depends how you see it. All this being said, hopefully this video was introspective enough. You are appreciated. Take care. Ferenc Bor signing out.